So I'm actually recording this immediately after doing two back-to-back Tower of God streams on Twitch and YouTube. Please like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell down so the Ghost of the 13-month series doesn't get you and you can stay notified. Just so you guys, if you want a more bite-sized version of what I kind of thought about the chapter this week, I could give it to you here. But I want to preface by saying this because I don't know that I've ever been in such a compromising position from the standpoint of like the logic in my brain and the emotions that I'm feeling fighting each other. I really liked a lot of what I saw. I think the main trio getting humble and packed up like this and seeing Bam truly struggle and like get ragdolled the way that he's getting ragdolled was cathartic, important, and something we needed to see more often. I'm going to start this part of my criticism with a nitpick that I think is unique to me and me alone. So I'm not putting this on anyone else. I want you to attribute this to me. If you agree with me, you can piggyback off of it, but it has always bothered me that Bam has only truly struggled and like been humbled by like the strongest, most accomplished like characters. Like I think about the idea and concept of maybe a new ranker or an A or B rank regular that's very talented, giving him a run for his money and being like, our regulars aren't all that if I can take you on kind of thing. But when I really think about it, and if I'm wrong and someone can remember a moment of it happening that was significant earlier, tell me. But Caliban was the first person I saw look at Bam kind of like, they're doing all this for you? Hodges-sung did all this for you? You're too weak. You're weak. And I'm like, it took Caliban to say this? Blessed by Shinsu. Very important family. Essence of bravery. Hodgin-sung tried to recruit him as a slayer. Part of Jihad's empire. Is a core commander, is a leader in the army. He's OD. It took someone of that caliber to tell Bam like, you need to chill. And then we have Dumas. Dumas is like top 3 in his family or top 5 or something. I'm not sure where you are. I know Koreans that were saying that South Korea was saying that he's like top 30. I'm not sure where you guys are at, but he's at least like top 3 in his family, right? So it's like it took someone like this to really kind of humble you guys. Plus, he's got Karaka's kind of armor gimmick, which I don't think necessarily works the same. So that has bothered me a little bit. But I'll just cut to the gist, right? If you revisit the fight with Caliban, with White and stuff, Bam is using more powers in terms of the ancillary things inside of him that he can pull out. The thorns that represent that he's kind of emulating true self mode. I think true self mode, he has to stab himself with the whatever to exude the power of the administrator. But watching Caliban, he has a thorn out, 2 horns, shield, and all kind of stuff trying to do that. Versus Dumas, he did try the cutlery. Level 1 Theresa, even though we've seen him be level 2, I think against the Elite and the Mudflat Snake, but he has 1 thorn out, and I just don't know how anybody expects me to take this seriously. If I am Goku and I am in Super Saiyan 1 and I do a Kamehameha with all my might, it is not as powerful as me doing it with all my might when I'm in my strongest, most powerful form, which, as far as I know, is Ultra Instinct mastered right now for Goku. So even though Bam is using stuff like Shinwan Ryu and powerful techniques, he's not using it in full power. I do believe that he needs to be emotionally pushed to go into the dark twist, dark change mode that he used against White, or the black Shinsu used against like the Al Jihad. I don't think he's able to tap into that willingly the same way Rat can't turn into that mode that he's been in whenever he wants willy-nilly. However, I did like the tidbit that Rack got a little bit better with his rocks because of this, but I still don't like how the whole situation played out, and I think Rack was a good enough character and an important enough character that he deserved to be treated better and better respected when it was all said and done, and him getting his power up and not throw a temper tantrum, but you don't really throw one when you see a Guerrero kind of dead. Though I do think it's kind of a funny meta thing where it's like, oh, he's not dead. Dude, this is like his 4th time dying. You guys brought up the Hands of Arlene one. That one's not fresh in my head, but I remember Rachel blowing his heart up. He was alive. Paul waxing him. He was alive, and now Dumas. So just like, he died again? We're doing this again? Like, kind of funny, all things considered, but I apologize. I know this is weird because I was just obviously full screen and now I'm not. The camera died as I was recording. I didn't feel like getting up, so I just plugged my webcam back in. I hope that's okay, but we'll continue. But I think the last thing I was saying is I think Dumas sparing Rack because he's like a native is interesting. It's almost like, oh, like you're kind of extinct. You're an important part of the tower in its history. But I'm trying to really understand the mechanics of Dumas, his armor, how it relates to Gustang and the Arc Librarian thing. And you know how I keep saying these niggas are like passages in the textbook, in text. And I do not believe that the armors work the same. I think Karaka's armor works differently than Dumas's, but there's overlap, there's overlay, there's commonality there, but it doesn't work the exact same way. I'm wondering if anybody thinks the same. I'm at the point now where I believe that Karaka is inside of his armor and his heart's hidden away. So if you go into Karaka's armor world, you cannot find Karaka in there because he's in the armor. Dumas, under some weird way or circumstance, he is inside the armor manipulating it from within. So like with the Dumas you see walking around scary, no arms with the talon legs, is like an automaton robot, some type of put together being. I don't know if it's a hybrid, but that is the impression that I get and I'm going with for the time being. But again, just like last week, I really didn't hate the chapter. I mean, I do think it's a little bit of an assault to my intelligence and what I've read and seen before, but I wasn't mad. I had a good time, and I actually had a blast streaming about it, getting to dunk on some people in chat, and combating some terrible arguments, which I do. So ultimately, we'll have to see what happens next week. I want to say too, this is also giving me flashbacks of Caliban and Bam and White. The whole like I can't hurt him thing. Okay, it's very Caliban-esque because Caliban's defense was pretty much impregnable. And then you had White kind of like he's mad and rage, but he's losing. And then he kind of dies or gets cut or something. And then he's going to wake up in the dark change, dark twist, or, you know, emotionally motivated to win. And we'll see if that's enough. I do think Dumas is the strongest person that Bam has had to like fight straight up. So I do think he should get pushed further than they did with the White fight. But also maybe White's crown really comes into play here, and this is how he gets his White power up. We've seen what it did for IU, the Sweet Fish, and Aguero, who I assume that Aguero will wake up because of IU, or Bam will do the I forgot that Bam did the Arya time manipulation rewind thing. So people are saying maybe Bam will do that. And even remember White, like even that's ridiculous. You can like bring back the dead now. This is what we're doing, bro. All right. So yeah, man, I don't have too much to say about it. My favorite chapter was I have to reenact it for you guys. The favorite part of the chapter from a panel standpoint is when Dumas took Bam's head after Bam tried to dragon Tiger Gate him and I said, yo, that was crazy. I also want to give Bam credit. I actually think it makes, I know he's flustered and he's emotionally like compromised a little bit. I don't want to downplay that, and that's obvious. He's displayed that well. Though I do think sometimes Bam's changes in emotions are pretty volatile and not seamless. That being said, that's neither here nor there. When he was there, he saw Ha Jin Sung's Dragon Tiger Gate work in bisecting Dumas, but then his armor put him back together. And I guess after that's when he told him about the armor gimmick, and he brought it up with Karaka or whatever. I also found it interesting that nobody attacked the heart or was wondering what exactly the heart was and went straight for it. If you guys have ever played Paper Mario 1, you know in the third chapter there's a gimmick like this with an invincible Tubba Blubba Tuba Bluba, I never know how to say it, and him and his heart are separated, and then you cannot beat Tuba Blue, but he is invincible. No matter how good you are, no matter how strong you are, no matter how much you've grinded, you cannot do any damage to him. You have to run and sneak around the castle. But when you find his heart in the windmill, what you do is you beat it up. Then it runs away to reunite with the body, but now that the heart is weakened, so is the body, and now you can hurt him and beat him. I was trying to kind of really figure. I think the mechanics of Dumas's armor is a little bit different than Karaka's, and I think it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. Aguero will be fine. Rack is not dead. He said he's not going to kill Rack, and if you want to save your comrade, you're going to come do this. But also seems too like he's goading him in the same way White is to use your real power to help him awaken his heart. And what Aguero did stopped his heart from beating. So there's a lot to sink our teeth into, but I really want to hear your commentary on this. Like, this is one of those weeks where like I'm very interested in what the community has thought about what happened this week in this chapter. So we'll do that and keep it pushing. But thank you guys for listening. God bless. Have yourself a mighty fine day. Like the video. Goodbye. My dear patrons, I appreciate you guys as always. Every cent, every penny, every dollar. A penny in a sense, the same thing. It all counts. Anyways, shout out to y'all. CBL, Certified BAM Lovers, La BAM Nation. Thank you guys. Thank you. Also got to give a bigger shout out to the Priest of Fire. They might be the real CPLs because that's Certified Brilith Lovin'. Priest of Fire. The best girl in Kubera. But the biggest shout out to the Fifth Zen Gods. A humongous shout out to Zyler Scotty, Zodiac Nemiko, Zachary Cooper, Rick Mazzino, Tino Brown, Ticos, Simi, Scobe, S, Revenant, Naz Riley, Lucky Roo, Lazy Dragon, Big Catan, Johnny Rogers, Jay, Huey, Fairs, Childish Nujabes, Andrew, and Big Abdel. Your support is greatly appreciated. Appreciated. Now I can't even speak. Anyways, thank y'all. Goodbye.